Hello there, and welcome to a special bonus episode of the X Button Gaming Podcast. We were going to have a regular episode, but lo and behold, nobody wanted to be on it. So instead, we're just going to BS our way through a little May the 4th special episode. And as
your last resort.
My last resort. I wasn't even going to do anything, and Jasmine had a nice idea to still record something content-wise for the podcast. So my guest today is my lovely, beautiful wife,
Hello.
Jasmine. So thank you for joining me. I don't really know what the total plan is here. She wanted to do something Star Wars themed since I wasn't going to do anything. And so that's what we're doing. So Jasmine, why don't you fill us in? What are we doing on this episode here?
I'm going to ask you some questions, get to know you and your history with Star Wars a little bit better, and help your listeners understand what a complete nerd you are.
I think they already know that. Unless this is their first episode, which, I don't know. Welcome.
If this is your first episode, please don't listen to this one. Find another one.
It's too late. They're invested. All right. Well, so these are all Star Wars questions, you said?
Yes. First question.
Oh, we're just getting right to it. All right, go ahead.
How old were you when you first watched Star Wars, and who did you watch it with?
I don't remember a time in my life where I didn't know what Star Wars was. So young. I don't know. Less than 3, I guess. I don't know. I do have a memory. I think I was probably about 3 years old. My parents went to Hawaii and they took me and my sister with them. And I remember seeing something Star Wars while I was on that trip. And this is one of the very few memories I have of that trip. And that's it. I just know that I knew what Star Wars was already.
Don't remember which movie.
I don't remember what it was. I don't remember what movie I watched first. I'd say my earliest memory of watching it was probably being around maybe that age or 4 or something. And I liked Empire Strikes Back the most because I think as a kid Yoda appealed because, he's a Muppet. And I already liked the Muppets and Sesame Street as well, so I thought it was cool. And I'm sure that would have been with my dad and or my sister since they were the Star Wars fans.
Do you happen to know your dad or your sister's favorite Star Wars movie? I'd assume for your dad it was probably...
My dad's was probably Empire Strikes Back.
I would have thought
Return of the Jedi.
Probably saw that in
Tira's
theaters.
could only be one of 3 because she only saw Phantom Menace once before she died. So I would assume it was probably also... I don't know. I don't know. That's been so long ago, 26 years.
Fair enough.
So
Fair enough.
It's hard to say.
What do you think your dad would think of the direction Star Wars has gone in? I mean, he wasn't one to complain about things.
I think he liked Star Wars on a very surface level. He loved he loved sci-fi in general. I was reading the books when I was a teenager, and I talked to him about them, but he never read them. I think for him, Star Wars was just fun, and I don't think he would have cared. I think he would have enjoyed watching Star Wars.
He probably liked watching it with you since, sports. You liked sports as a kid too, right?
Yeah, I liked baseball, I guess, as a kid.
So that's also something you did with him and your sister as well.
Yeah, and my mom. We all went to baseball games.
So you watched it with your dad. Do you think he saw it in theaters?
The original?
Yeah.
I know for a fact that he went opening night to the original, A New Hope, before it was A New Hope. My sister was a baby, and I think he said he took her. I don't know. Tiffany might remember better, my other sister, but
I'll have to ask her.
I know that he went with my friend Alex, who's been on the podcast quite a few times. My dad and his dad went and saw it opening night together. So I know
So he saw it with his best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, he was a big Star Wars fan. We went and saw the re-releases of the original trilogy in theaters when they came out in the mid-90s. We didn't see Phantom Menace opening night. I saw it opening night with James and his family. My dad probably had to work, so that probably wouldn't have worked for him. But I know we saw it in theaters, and I remember seeing episode 2 with him and episode 3 opening day as well.
Alright, so that's the closest you could get to a first memory. Do you have a favorite Star Wars related memory? Could be anything. Games, seeing them in theaters, books. Do you have a favorite Star Wars book?
I mean, it's cliche, but the Heir to the Empire trilogy is easily.
Was that the one you borrowed from Alex and took camping?
No, that was a Thrawn book. That was part of the new Disney era.
I see.
But Thrawn was the main antagonist of the Heir to the Empire trilogy. That was the first Star Wars media outside of the original trilogy that basically, after the hiatus between Return of the Jedi and Phantom Menace, was probably the next big thing that happened for Star Wars. I was super young then, but those books are what kind of brought Star Wars back into the slightly more popular, I don't know,
Like
mainstream era again, for readers, I guess. But Star Wars never died in between the movies, but it kind of revitalized interest in it again because those books are so good. In the Darth Bane, it was a duology, I think. I think there's only 2 books. Maybe there's 3. Anyway, the Darth Bane books, which are also expanded universe, are really good as well.
Fair enough. I checked out one Star Wars book from the library. It wasn't fiction. It was just breaking down all of the weapons, all of the ships. Like, it was all of the extra information. I was trying to impress you. We were dating. I could not focus, so I learned absolutely nothing.
Yeah, that's hard. That's the part of Star Wars I'm not really interested in. I mean, I love the ships and the lightsabers and all that stuff, but when it comes to like Star Wars trivia and they ask you something deep about or some technical question about one of the ships or something, I'm not going to get that stuff.
Fair enough. Who do you think is your most knowledgeable friend, Star Wars related information?
Alex, I would assume. I mean, me and Alex both know a lot about about a lot of different avenues of Star Wars, but there may be somebody else. But Alex would be my guess. So now you have
who
to
you'd
prove
want
me
on your
right,
team
Alex.
on your team for trivia or something.
Yep.
Fair enough. All right. So we often refer to you as Corey Matthews. What Corey Matthews-esque character is somebody that you relate to in Star Wars? That was a horrible way to phrase the question.
Who in Star Wars am I most like?
Yes, what character in your...
So I guess for anybody who doesn't know, Corey Matthews is the main character from Boy Meets World, but I assume most people probably know that. Yes. But in Star Wars, I don't know. Jabba the Hutt. I definitely don't know that I've ever felt like, oh, yes, me and that character are definitely one and the same. I wish I could say that I was like a Han or a Lando, but they're way cooler than I am. Definitely more suave than I am. That's like how I would always wanted to be the Sean Hunter of Boy Meets World, but I was definitely the Corey Matthews.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. But let's not forget Corey Matthews ended up with Topanga. He always had Topanga.
That is true.
So who's the real winner here? Sean had great hair. Well, I guess so did Matthew. Curly hair is Corey Matthews. Curly hair is...
But they always called him Brillo Head. And for me, it was gray hair because I had gray hair at a young age.
If only we all could be that lucky.
So what you're saying is Corey got Topanga and I got you. So who's really the winner here?
I didn't say it.
Me. I said it.
But did you really win? I know nothing about Star Wars.
I knew that, marrying you.
That's fair.
I tried to change you.
After 11 years, I'm still not very educated, but there is time yet. One thing I would like to know about you is which one is your favorite? If you had to pick one movie.
Which Star Wars movie is not just any movie.
I mean, you can give me both.
No, I'm not going to do that. Probably Empire Strikes Back. It's a bit of a cliche answer, but I don't know. It's hard because I have fond memories of most of the movies, but if I guess if like for whatever reason I could only own one Star Wars movie, like I guess the whole your house is burning down and you can only grab one Star Wars movie off the shelf. They aren't all in a box set. Like it's something like that. If I could only grab one, it would probably be Empire Strikes Back.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I would assume. I've always said it's my favorite, and I haven't sat down and questioned that in a long time, but I'm sure that it hasn't changed much.
I guess we'll have to see if there is an update to that next year. Next May the 4th. What character you already said you wish you could be more like a Han Solo or a Lando. What qualities do they display that you would like to adopt?
Being cool.
Okay.
Being like suave, good with the ladies. I don't need to be good with the ladies anymore. I just need to be good with a lady.
Fair.
And I'm not always that, so I don't know. I mean, just like I think anybody would agree, like Han Solo, Lando Calrissian, they're just cool.
Okay.
Like it's got that swag. I think I always wanted to be cool and I never tried that hard. Anybody who's known me for any period of time knows that I haven't really put on much of a facade of trying to be cool. I've always been the nerd that I am, but I wished I was cool.
Fair enough. If you try too hard, you end up looking more like a loser. So
Yeah.
I think you're cool enough
Wow.
as you are.
You hear that, guys? She thinks I'm pretty neat. A pretty groovy dude.
That's pretty neat. All right. And so as far as your favorite Star Wars memory, I can't remember if you answered that. You gave me one of your first memories, but
Man, if I do remember you asking that, did I not answer it?
I can't remember.
Huh.
How about your favorite Star Wars memory that includes me? Because I got one.
When we were dating and I was living with my friend Nick. We were roommates. Why I needed to say that, I don't know. But you and I were dating, and we were watching through the original trilogy. I don't remember if we did it all at once or we split it up. But we're watching Return of the Jedi, and we get to the part where they're on Endor, and the Ewoks think 3PO is a god, and they have Han and Luke tied up. And then Luke goes to lift 3PO with the Force. And he closes his eyes to do that in that scene. And when that happens, you lean over to me and you ask, why is he sleeping? And I was so confused as to why you thought he was sleeping. But it was also adorable, and I thought it was really funny. Mm. That and all the times you went to see The Force Awakens with me when it came out. Because I did really like The Force Awakens.
Yes.
And we did see it. I saw it like 6 times in theaters, including sitting out in the rain all day in Seattle.
That was cold.
Yeah.
Seattle is cold.
And many of my friends were also there.
Didn't you end up on the news?
Was that day, or was that the road?
I think.
Well, that was that day.
Because that was in Seattle at the Science Center.
But I had my Boba Fett sweater on and zipped up, so nobody could see it was me. They thought it was Boba Fett.
That's true. That is true. It was the talk of the town.
Oh, yes. Everybody's like, did you see those cool guys on the news?
Hey. It's all relative.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you have a favorite Star Wars show? There's like 50 million of them now.
There's a lot now.
And some you haven't seen yet.
No, I haven't watched, what was that one called that came out like in December or November or January? With the kids. I don't know. I haven't seen that one with Jude Law in it. And the new season of Andor is airing right now, and I haven't watched that. But, I mean, the cliche answer is Clone Wars. Clone Wars is just that good. I love the prequel trilogy and the in-depth look at all of the Jedi from that era, getting to see a deeper side of Anakin, Ahsoka, all these characters that were so fantastic. Clone Wars is just great. It has some slow parts, but there's no denying that when it's good, it's top tier, and they just did such a good job of closing that out as well.
Well, and one thing that maybe not everybody knows about you is you really appreciate voice acting. Did they have a lot of the original characters do the voices, or
no?
No.
I don't know that many, if any, of the actors reprised their roles in that. Like Darth Maul in the movie in episode 1 wasn't he was played by Ray Park, but he was voiced by somebody else. And then they brought in oh god, what's the guy's name? The guy who played Starkiller in Force Awakens. Whatever. He did the voice for him in the Clone Wars, and then he did the voice for him in the Solo movie as well. But that's not what you asked.
That's okay.
Just
I'll take it.
over.
I'll take the information. All right. Let's see what I have lined up next.
Also, back to the shows for just a second. I'm gonna say too, Clone Wars is definitely my favorite, and Rebels is really good as well. But I loved Kenobi. It had its weak points, but I think it got crapped on a lot. I thought it was a really good show, and I struggle with the fact too that so many people are like, and Obi-Wan wouldn't have been so lame after that. He would have still been like super in tune with the Force and so badass and stuff. But I felt like I really related.
Like they didn't see that they didn't see it as believable he was reclusive.
Yeah, like they didn't like that was one of the big. There's plenty of people had plenty of complaints, and it wasn't a perfect show, but I liked their depiction of Obi-Wan in the fact that basically he was dealing with depression, and as somebody who has dealt with depression, and plenty of people I know deal with depression, I feel like it's a good representation to see somebody who is that strong. He was one of the most powerful Jedi, a great leader, and very important during the Clone Wars in the whole prequel trilogy. To see somebody like of that caliber suffering with the what happened around him and the depression that came with that is pretty. It's important and it's realistic because he literally all of his friends died. He lost everything he'd ever known. It'd be like being part of a religion or a group and then literally them all being killed and everybody that you'd known and grown up with is just gone and you have to go into hiding because you're being persecuted. They'll kill you if they find out that you're still a Jedi. And all of that happened because of his Padawan, who was his best friend and who he viewed like a brother, was the one who did it all. And on top of that, he didn't kill him when he probably should have, and didn't have it in him to do it then, and probably regretted it. But there's a lot. That's a lot for any person to take on. Just because you're a powerful Jedi doesn't mean that it isn't going to weigh on you. And I thought that depiction of him dealing with that was very well done and very important too. And he came back around and came back to the Force, and
his potential never left either.
Yeah, he just had to waken back up, basically.
So perhaps going back to one of my first questions, maybe you relate to him more than you realized.
Yes, me and Obi-Wan. Definitely one in the same.
I mean, he doesn't give Corey Matthews energy, but still.
He's definitely a lot more confident than me in his everyday, but...
You can fix that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Give me your favorite movies in order.
So rank the movies.
Yes.
All of them.
Yes.
I don't know. I haven't sat down and done this, but you want it from bottom to top, probably?
Whichever. Just state which one first.
So I'm going to have to say Rise of Skywalker at the bottom. Last Jedi just before that. It's better than people say it is. It has some really good parts, but I don't care for it personally. Then Attack of the Clones, because no matter how good of a movie, how much I like that movie, it is very cringe at times. But the Geonosian arena, all of that is cool. All of the Camino area, seeing Camino and Obi-Wan fighting with Jango Fett, all that's really cool. And it's a very quotable movie. And then after that, probably Rogue One. I mean, I know Rogue One, people love Rogue One. It is a great movie, but I didn't love it.
That's the one where everybody dies at the end.
Yeah. Okay, I know this is confusing, and I started at the bottom, but I'm gonna flip this around and actually go from the top down because I think this will be easier for me. Number one down, Empire Strikes Back, and this is where already people are gonna be like, "This guy's a moron," and I don't care, because this is where this list gets very different from most people's. Empire Strikes Back, Phantom Menace, Revenge of the Sith, Return of the Jedi, Solo, Force Awakens, A New Hope. And then I'd probably say Rogue One, Attack of the Clones, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. That's all. That's 11, right? Yeah. So that's probably how I'd rank them.
All right.
There was a lot more rambling there than needed to be. But
Give me, why is your bottom movie ranked your bottom movie?
Rise of Skywalker, just the pacing's terrible. It felt so forced. There's still, once again, there's still things about that movie I enjoy. The Force dyad scene where Rey passes the lightsaber to Ben is really cool. And there's some other stuff here and there, but overall that movie it's I don't know. It just feels like people didn't know what they were doing. They just put together a movie. So no matter what people think of The Last Jedi is a good movie. From beginning to end. It's well made, it's well written, and the dialogue is pretty strong throughout, but it's just, I struggle with it as a part of the Skywalker saga, and I don't need to get into that, because it is still a good movie. It's definitely better than Rise of Skywalker.
Fair enough. What would you say is the most cringe scene in your opinion?
In any movie?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, it has to be one of the scenes with Anakin and Padme in Attack of the Clones. But to be fair, in Rise of Skywalker, that somehow Palpatine survived is pretty up there.
Speaking of Palpatine, I know what your favorite scene is, or one of your favorite scenes. I've watched you watch Star Wars, and I've never seen such a look of awe on your face as... Do tell.
I mean, I love this scene in Episode 3 where Palpatine invites Anakin to the opera house thing, and he tells him the story of Darth Plagueis and how he can keep the ones he loves from dying. It's I love dialogue, and the dialogue in that scene is fantastic. That, and also, once again, Palpatine and his dialogue with Luke in Return of the Jedi is also fantastic.
So, you like the writing? The writing's good. Let me see here. What is one thing you wish that the Star Wars fandom would do better? I've heard it's a toxic place. I don't know.
Yeah, Star Wars fandom is pretty toxic. Overall, I just wish they'd let people have their opinions and not have to crap on everybody whose opinion was different than them. It's really what it comes down to.
Let people like what they like.
Yeah, and dislike what they dislike. I understand when somebody's, talking crap about something you like, it can be hard to listen to, but there is a difference between somebody just saying like, hey, I don't like this movie because of this and this, compared to somebody being like, that movie's crap. Because that's just obnoxious. But nonetheless, like, people are allowed to have their opinions, but I think in the Star Wars fandom, ever since the prequel trilogy, honestly, ever since the original trilogy, with Ewoks, people have always had things to complain about. There's no part of this fandom that, well, that's not true. But there's a lot of parts of this fandom that is extremely obnoxious. The original trilogy, only people that, they don't watch anything else. Everything else sucks. Like, I mean, that's fine, like what you like, but even they have issues. Like I said, even they tend to complain about things like the Ewoks, and I don't know.
What's their complaint with Ewoks?
They're childish, but it was a PG movie. Star Wars was originally for kids. So, I mean, it always was. It's supposed to have been for kids until maybe the Disney era. It's changed a little bit.
Yeah.
And then, there's people that like all 6 of the prequel and the original trilogy, but hate on the everything Disney era. And like, whereas I understand a lot of the Disney era stuff has been not great at times and has left stuff to be desired, like, there's still a lot to enjoy. And I've always kind of fallen into the camp that at least I'm still getting Star Wars content. And for the most part, it's better than no content. I have, there's a few things I might not agree with that on.
Sure.
But generally speaking, but everybody's allowed to have their own opinion. Just, I don't know. Don't be obnoxious about it.
That's fair. What's a Star Wars hill that you would die on?
Solo was a much more fun movie than people give it credit for.
I always liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really fun movie. I understand it was not a necessary movie. Nobody was clamoring for a prequel story to Han Solo with a different actor. But I think that being said, he did a good job.
I agree.
For the most part, he did a good job trying to capture his mannerisms. And overall, the movie is just, it's fun. And in my opinion, the best of the Disney era Star Wars movies, maybe other than Force Awakens. Yeah, and people don't have to like it if they don't want to. But I just think if you look at it at what it is a fun movie. It's a fun sci-fi space adventure with some really cool Star Wars elements in it, including some really deep cuts to the expanded universe, like freaking Terrakasi. It's based off of literally was created for a PlayStation 1 Star Wars fighting game that nobody talks about. Like it's not known. It wasn't part of the original Star Wars, like actual canon. So it was expanded universe, and they brought Terrakasi into canon with that. And of course, that game sucks, but it's still a cool reference. It's cool to bring that in.
Fair enough. Yeah, I really like that movie actually, but I don't have a lot to back up my opinion, as I do not have a lot of Star Wars knowledge. But in the movie, Han Solo does put it to bed. But before it was confirmed, were you a Han or a Han sayer?
I always said Han.
Yeah, sounds better.
Though when I quote fanboys sometimes, nobody calls Han Solo. I can't finish that sentence because this is a PG podcast.
Well, we wouldn't call him that. Not here.
Mm-mm.
All right. What would you say is your favorite Star Wars video game? And why?
It's definitely Knights of the Old Republic. It's just a really good game. It's a good game no matter how you look at it. But I mean, it's basically the stepping stone for the Mass Effect series. Eventually, a lot of the same team worked on Knights of the Old Republic worked on Mass Effect. So without that, you wouldn't have Mass Effect. But Knights of the Old Republic it's the furthest back in the Star Wars timeline. Of course, it's not canon currently, but still takes place further back than anything else Star Wars when it came out, and still, I believe. And it touches on the fact this was before the Rule of Two, so there's more than just two Sith. It's the whole Sith. There's way more than two Sith. I don't know, but the story is really good. The cast of characters that you get in the game are all compelling. Carth Onasi sometimes a little annoying, but other than that, they're all really good characters. The light and dark system, where you, according to the choices you make in the game, can be either a Jedi or a Sith, or you can choose to fall somewhat in between, is a very well done system, and it's very rewarding whichever side you choose. And according to what side you choose, you get a different ending for the game, and it's just there's a really good plot twist in the game. That, in the chance that people haven't played it, I won't spoil it, but still, fantastic game. I don't know where I'd rank it in my overall pantheon of video games, but it's up there. I love that game.
Your light side. Did you play through it both?
I've only ever played through a light side.
Fair enough. Well, maybe it's time. You see what you like better.
Yeah. To be fair, when I play... So I've played both Knights of the Old Republic games, then I played the Old Republic on PC. And when I play any of them, and any game that has kind of like a good and bad... what is that called? A good and bad system, I guess. Whatever. There's a word there. To your character, I usually follow my gut reaction on the responses, which means sometimes it definitely can lean dark.
Maybe some like gray area, morally gray.
I struggle a little bit with revenge when in a game where a character, if somebody murders somebody unjustly as a character that I liked, it's hard for me not to to give them their due and choose the dark side option.
To avenge them.
But yeah, I definitely, when I played through Knights of the Old Republic one of the times, I definitely did a pure light side where I didn't pick any dark or neutral options, just the light side ones. But it's hard for me to do dark side stuff because sometimes it's just so evil. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to like want to do. Why do I want to kill that little kid? I don't want to do that.
Oftentimes villains can be the most intriguing. I find sometimes
For sure.
their backstories are more interesting. Who would you say is your favorite villain?
Does it have to be in the movies or just anything Star
Anything
Wars?
Star Wars.
Grand Admiral Thrawn, expanded universe for sure. Even Disney universe in the books and Rebels. I don't know how I feel about him so far in live action. In Ahsoka, he left a lot to be desired. He didn't really give much. But Thrawn is a fantastic bad guy. And then Darth Bane is also fantastic. But he's purely EU currently. He exists in canon, but they've never shown him.
Gotcha.
Or developed him, I guess, in canon.
And speaking of earlier memories, you did get to build your own lightsaber, Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like for you?
That was a cool experience. You were there.
I was really cool.
Yeah, and James got to go too.
I was on camera duty.
Yeah, she got to record it all, I think. Actually, is there a video of that?
I have them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was fun. I mean, they immerse you into the Star Wars world. You know, they're all playing their part, and it just, yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be able to piece together your own lightsaber, and it just felt pretty epic. And the price at the time didn't feel too bad. I'm sure it's a lot more expensive now.
Everything is. Mm-hmm. That's for sure. Yeah, I don't engage with the cast members at Disneyland because they're rude, and I'm not good at my banter, so I can't hold my own.
That's BS. You are very good at banter. You just don't like being put on the spot.
That's fair. Like right now.
Ain't nobody banter
floundering.
like Jasmine.
I'm floundering.
Flounder. All right. You have any other questions for me?
Yes, I have one. So I know that our dog is named after a Star Wars character from a video game. Tell me more about that. And does she embody this character in any way?
No. So I named my dog Iden based off Iden Versio from Star Wars Battlefront 2. But the new Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2018 or 17, whenever it came out. Iden Versio is a strong character that follows what she believes in and does not back down. And Iden, my dog, is a scaredy cat and is afraid of everything.
She is.
So they're definitely not the same. But Battlefront 2 was a game that when it came out, if anybody was was part of the video game scene at the time, saw news and whatever, that game got dogged on hard because of its transactions in the multiplayer. And rightfully so, because it was bad. But it has a single player campaign, and once the game went on sale, I ended up buying it, super cheap, like $10. And I just bought it because I wanted to play the campaign. I didn't really care about the multiplayer. And I liked it. I liked the campaign a lot, but I thought Iden Versio was a really cool character, and I thought that was a cool name.
Is she a pretty character? Be honest.
The actress that plays her is attractive. Remember Big Sky? The show? And remember the girl in season 2 that was the villain? Anyway, she is attractive. But I would say that the character in the game, even though the face model, they use her face model, I wouldn't say it translates as
Reasonable.
But yeah, cool character. That the campaign in that game is way better than I ever heard anybody say or talk about it. It's actually really good, and it is canon. So somewhat important if you care about the events in Star Wars between episodes 7 and 8, 8 and 9, whatever. No, it couldn't have been between 7 and 8 because there's only 2 seconds between those two movies. But you would never guess. Anyway, yeah, campaign in that game is great.
All right. And I'm sorry that your wife knows so little about Star Wars. You can blame my dad for that. He always told me
Good job, Michael.
that it was more of a boy thing. So there's that. And then my mom
Does not understand sci-fi.
No, well, she's also
German.
foreign, and nobody introduced her to Star Wars in Germany, so she didn't raise me watching it. But like we've talked about, you definitely grew up with it. You shared a love of Star Wars with your sister and your father. You'll have to fill them both in on where things went.
That'll be my number one priority.
That'll be your priority.
So you've watched all the Star Wars movies now. You haven't watched them, maybe you haven't watched them all multiple times, but do you have a favorite Star Wars movie?
I don't have an educated answer for this. I don't really have smart things to say to back up.
Well, I was looking for smart things.
But I like the original trilogy, just the way that it feels. The first time I really sat down and watched them was with you and your dad. And I remember thinking, even though I've never really watched them, they'd been on in the background when people, babysat me as a child or whatever. I've seen snippets, but it felt nostalgic, even though I wasn't raised with it. Just felt, I like the way they made me feel. I really like puppetry. The music,
Mm-hmm. John Williams.
Yeah,
tier.
It could make you cry. Very good. I liked episode 7. I did.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was an emotional one.
As well.
Because your dad passed away that year, and he was looking forward to seeing it with you. So that one, it was a little rough, but really good. When the music first started playing, I kind of lost it a little bit. Every time you talked about the movie, I remember he would smile, even when he couldn't respond much. So, yeah, that one holds a special place for me.
Maybe this is a depressing episode now.
Nah. And Kylo Ren, he's not the most beautiful person on the planet, but...
To Jasmine, he is. She loves it in Last Jedi when he wears those pants up to his nipples. No shirt.
He can pull them off.
He pulls off
I do prefer when
pants.
he has his helmet on. That's my preferred, but...
Oh, dang. She said put the paper bag on.
But I relate to him.
She likes his temper tantrums.
He throws tantrums. No, okay, I don't go around throwing tantrums, but I do relate.
Everybody throws a tantrum every once in a while.
It's just passionate. You feel strongly,
Yep. Well, anything else?
No, not that I can think of. I'll think of something the minute we're done.
Yep, and then it's too late. Don't even try to add anything else. So this wasn't as much of a video game episode, and that's okay. It is X Button Gaming, but the goal here is sometimes just to talk and have fun and talk about things we love. And I love Star Wars, and a lot of the listeners love Star Wars.
And I love you.
Aww.
And I love that you love Star Wars. And I don't mean that patronizingly.
Yeah, no, I do. And when I love something, I tend to love it a little too much sometimes. Right, Jasmine? I can be a little much. A little.
We all have our things.
Look at the cat. He's glaring at me right now. He's like, shut up. But yeah, no, I love Star Wars. So if you listen to this episode, made it to the end, definitely share your thoughts, your favorite Star Wars movie, your favorite Star Wars video game, whatever. Let's just talk some Star Wars in the comments. Which comments on YouTube is really the only place to comment on this, or you can join the Discord and comment in there. We have a Star Wars thread, I believe. But yeah, thank you for doing this. I appreciate.
You got to use that sound.
Oh,
I haven't
yeah.
used it this
I
whole
didn't
time.
use it at all.
Crazy. Whoops.
Thanks, Jar Jar. He's always here to bring a smile to people's faces.
Okay.
People love Jar Jar, right?
I'm not people, but to each their own. That's part of what we talked about today. Everybody can like what they like.
Quite literally. I knew as a kid, I liked Jar Jar just fine, but I was 11 when episode 1 came out. Maybe I was 12. Whatever. It doesn't matter. I was young. Like Jar Jar, I don't remember being like, yes, Jar Jar Binks. But I think that I thought it was funny. It appealed to the slapstick humor appealed to me a little bit. But I quickly realized everybody hated Jar Jar Binks. And that was like, so, just like Barney before him, so you're like, oh yeah, Jar Jar sucks. But I loved episode 1. Obviously it's my top, I consider it my second favorite Star Wars movie. I did not realize, I want to say until I was probably, 18, 19, 20. So somewhere around 8 years later that people hated not just Jar Jar Binks, but that whole movie. Like, I loved that movie.
And that was okay. Again, I don't know a lot. That's the one with. I always forget. I remember his yellow brother, Savage.
Yes, Darth Maul.
Darth Maul.
Yeah. Yes, it is the one with Darth Maul. Savage Opress's brother, as most people know him.
I know the important things, I suppose.
Yeah, you are the one person in the world that knows Darth Maul as Savage Opress's brother. Most people don't even know who Savage Opress is.
I have a lot to learn.
No, that's funny. But yeah, it is the one with Darth Maul. And the Duel of Fates at the end of the movie is fantastic. But I love that movie. Like, that movie, when I was a kid, I was in love with Natalie Portman on top of it.
Shocked. How original.
Whatever. I didn't know other people loved her. Like, I was in love. I would watch that and Where the Heart Is back to back.
Fair enough.
Did not matter.
But to be fair, if I had the opportunity to see you in a Leia slave costume, it's my dream.
God, that's disgusting.
Give the people what they want.
Yeah, that is.
Crazy. Whoops.
There we go. You got it twice at the end of the episode. Well, on that disgustingly disturbing note,
You're welcome.
we're going to go ahead and close it off. So thank you for encouraging this episode and you basically put it together. I didn't prepare anything. And yeah, so we're going to go ahead and close it off.
And may the 4th be with you. The 4th be with you.
Because by the time anybody listens to this, it'll be either the 4th, the 5th, or long after, because this is the 3rd that we're recording it on. Yeah, so let's go ahead and close off. Thanks everybody for listening. And remember to always press X to continue.
Crazy.